it's just too many cars going too slowly.
As Shattered really applying the pressure here.
And full speed. And so that is not good.
Oh, shit.
Oh, all the way back in season 3. And here we go. DRS will open as they cross this line.
See what happens from that.
Yeah, DRS open. Oh, half throttle down the straight. So I saw a car go sideways. Hello and welcome. This is Mutiny Motorsport. This is season 13, where we are off to Montreal for the second race of the season. A track really noted for its long straights followed by tricky chicanes, and let's see how they did in qualifying.
Yeah, we have Nate here with the blistering 1:12.3, followed by TTR, and then the Ferraris with Shattered Compass tracing them all behind, and it's going to get off to it real fast.
And it is, and where are the lights? Let's see them go. They are off, and that is Nate and TTR side by side, along with the Ferraris, 2x2 as they go down to turn 1. They brake hard. So that looks like Shattered Compass trying to go around the outside. There's a bit of a lockup, and TTR is through on the inside. Nate gives him space, and then they're going down to turn 3 already. Let's see what's going on in the background. It looks like, oh, is that one of the Ferraris maybe losing a bit of a spot there to Shattered Compass? He brakes late. Oh, they're going across the grass. Oh, that's going to cause some chaos as they come back, and Shattered Compass is going so slowly, being swallowed up by the whole pair. Oh, I saw a car go sideways. Oh, wow.
Wow. Now that is a wreck and a half.
Yeah, and you can see in the top of your screen, safety car is flashing. Wow, what a start happened there. And
That's for me. I don't have a reset button.
And not surprising, Artie is out. No reset button bound. That is really unfortunate, really, to start your race without that button. It is super handy just for getting back on the right way round. And we did see a steward's inquiry pop up there, probably unsurprisingly, with the amount of chaos that had ensued. It might take them a little while to go through all the footage and give us some answers, but what a start to the race. Were you expecting that, Gary?
That was an exciting one and a little scary. I mean, there was so much carnage happening. It looked like it started when Shattered went to go and overtake, and I think turn 3 there over Garrett, and it looked like going through the grass there just created a backlog, and everyone got caught up in all that mayhem. It's a really tricky spot. You know, the walls are really tight onto the track there. There's no breathing room for mistakes. And it caught a lot of people up, and be interesting to see what really shook out from that. But it looks like from that we have TTR first, Nate second, Debug is third, and Garrett fourth. And Shattered has pit as well, so be interesting to see how that all shakes out after everyone does their damage repairs.
Yeah, Artie out, so you can see he's got the longest time in the pit lane, or backing from the leaders. He is out, so it looks like Shattered, Bumble, Orange, and India have kind of made their way to the pits, or at least getting there. Shattered, yeah, Bumble just in. Wow, and yeah, the safety car is taking them around, and it will probably be likely. Oh, we got a replay here. Let's see what happened from Shattered's point of view. So it gets a great start, really. The Ferrari in third place there, not getting away the best, and round the outside, a little bit of a lockup, has to go as wide as TTR in front of him, then gets between the Ferraris, as you see on the exit here. Down, he's right next to a Ferrari, you can see it there, brakes, and then you can see on the throttle trace, on the brake trace, it just let off, and both drivers had to take evasive action, especially Garrett O'Brien, and then that was it. A slow-moving Shattered Compass and just chaos surrounding him. Wow. And he just trundles through it going, wow, I wasn't expecting that. This looks like we're on board with Orange here. So yeah, you can see the Ferrari and the McLaren go off. And then everyone's trying to make their way around. And then, yeah, it's just too many cars going too slowly. And then the back markers not realizing what's going on by the time they got up there.
Yeah, it looked like also Shattered kind of kept going straight instead of following the track, and I think NDF kind of got caught off guard. He got clipped on his tire there, and that just really was a domino effect. Whoa, some serious speed coming from there.
Yeah, and here, I think this is NDF that we're on board with. So yeah, survives that, thinking great. Okay, I'll go around the right, and then as he's just turning there, it just... Shattered collects him. It is rear wheel to front wheel, and that is all over. Look at that. And there we go again. Another camera angle. And look at that bumblebee going up, up, up into the air as the birds are still there. They're not shocked too much. Just feet below them. And yeah, rear wings and wings bouncing all over the place. So I think, yeah, they probably have to give some drivers a lap back maybe to catch back up to the fields. And there's a few of them. So Shattered Compass is still on the lead lap after his repairs. NDF, Orange, Bumblebee, all a lap, if not more, down. So these drivers, track temperature is it's warm today. The sun's out. So they'll be keeping their tires nice and cool. Waiting for the safety car to disappear to decide how to deal with the drivers that are in the pit lane.
Yeah, and there is 4 times tire wear as well, so that will be something to be a factor, whether or not someone can manage a one-stop, which would be really difficult on a track like this, with those chicanes can be punishing. But you know, it can also, as the the second race of the season, they're getting more time with these cars and getting more times with the setup and potentially designing the suspension and all that to be able to handle some of that aggressive tire wear versus being able to be strong in those sort of higher speed corners. It'd be interesting to see how they balance that out.
Absolutely. And more replays again, so let's go on board. This time it looks like slow-mo, so you can see in the background already there's some smoke happening. So the collision has already happened as the 2 Ferraris come through, and that is NDF and Shattered Compass first. Orange and Bumble take evading action, and they just can't react fast enough to what's going on around them. And then you got the Hasses at the back, which almost get away with it, but if it wasn't for the cars flying
Look at that
through the air in front of them.
He hits the sign. He's hitting the sign.
Yeah, let's be glad this was a virtual race, because if this was real, you would be worrying for Bumble's life, especially through there. And then the final Mercedes comes through the pack, and that car would have been in the crowd so fast over the catch fencing. And there is rear wings missing from every car that I see. It looks more like Shattered of all people gets away with the least, which is probably why he's on the lead lap still. And once you're on your side, that's Artie in the background. That is it. Race over if you don't have that reset button.
Nose wings and rear wings galore flying all over the place.
Yeah, and there you go. It's that first initial contact and everyone having to avoid it. And Orange, Bumblebee, just passengers in that. The stewards are coming back with some activity. So let's see what their first comments are. Let's see. We have... let's go through this. Incident number 1, Garrett O'Brien and Shattered Compass Ferrari versus McLaren. We're going to award a 10-second penalty to Shattered Compass. That's the first incident of the day as he was making his way into turn 3. So that was like seconds before all of this really took place. Basically, the move wasn't on. He executed the brake too late. He even let go. I was trying to mention it at the time. You could see his trace on screen of his braking. Go back and watch that. And he actually releases the brake into the corner to stop the lockup, but that forces them both out wide. So the move isn't on. He will get penalty points on his license for that maneuver, so he will have to watch out in the future just to make sure he's not collecting too many of those penalty points. Let's go back to a replay with Bumble. Brakes. He sees some carnage ahead of him and then plants his foot. He's looking for a gap now, and there is no way.
No, that's no good. He went, I think he was hunting for a position gain there in the carnage and went full throttle into a crash. That's the stewards are going to come after him for that one.
I think so. I think so. So, there's another incident report coming through. A report. This is Shattered versus Artie. So that was one of the first collisions, and they're just saying that one's a racing incident. At turn 5, they did make contact, but neither driver was predominantly to blame. Shattered had come out, rejoined. Wasn't necessarily unsafe, as we see Orange unlapping himself from the field here, so he can get back into the race. Oh, and as he does so, he spins the car, but luckily keeps it at the barrier, so he'll be able to keep going. But the incident between Artie and Shattered coming back from the stewards is just a racing incident. Slow-moving car is trying to get back up to speed. It wasn't like he was dawdling on purpose. And yeah, so unfortunate for that one, which took Artie out of the race. As we see Bumble still trying to catch up to the field there. Track temperature, wow, you can see it in the top right hand of your screen, 54 degrees Celsius. That will be an added challenge for today's race once the racing really gets started. This is probably a blessing for them right now, being behind the safety car, getting to extend how far they can go.
Yeah, that will definitely change some strategy, being able to preserve those tires for a longer period with those mediums as they wear off their fuel and the car gets much more manageable. It'll be interesting to see how that changes the strategy.
I got vibration on my wheel.
So maybe something to watch out for there with Debug there, going slowly behind the safety car, his wheels vibrating. Now, in sim racing, it's so hard to tell, is this a part of the sim? Is this a part of your software that's going on in the background? Is it not liking something that it's seeing? Is it your computer? Like, that's a bit of a worrying sign. As TTR leads the field, Nate Delta just behind him. Remember, he got past into turn one, but we know Nate has that speed. He showed it in qualifying. So how long can he hold on to that position? Then you got the two Ferraris. You would have imagined if Garrett suffered any damage there, he would have pitted during this long safety car phase. And then we got, it says Megan Beam there, but that is Cracker Cold One. And then Leclerc, Shattered Compass, Bumblebee, Orange, who is looking like he's on the lead lap now, just a very long way back. And then NDF, who looks like he is retired, because that is a long way back from the field.
Yeah, and I believe that they're going to be starting here probably momentarily. It'll be interesting to see when the leader here chooses to take off and, you know, what kind of advantage he may or may not get, and see if they can't separate themselves from the rest of them. But yeah, it's lap 5 of 35. So it'd be interesting to see, you know, a lot of people have been going with medium tires for the beginning of their strategy, and to see how that evolves throughout the race.
And that sounds like TTR has put his foot down, and the race is back underway, as you said, at the end of lap 5, beginning of lap 6. And Nate has his rear wing open. There is no DRS ban for a couple of laps, so immediately the pack is going to be following as fast as they can at every opportunity. And there are 3 DRS straights here, so it will be worth it as long as he stays within that 1 second of the car in front. As they come down this chicane where all the chaos broke out in the early laps, and everyone gets through cleanly, it looks like.
Yeah, and as we saw in Suzuka, how effective that DRS can be with these cars, it really is a serious advantage, and we'll see how much that plays to effect here as well. As we can see, Nate is already on T-Tar going for it.
He is indeed down towards the hairpin, racing for the first time, even though we've done 5 laps, and he chooses to brake gently and just tuck in behind. He knows there's an opportunity coming up just in front of him as they go down the main straight. And here we go. DRS will open as they cross this line, and you can see already there's a speed advantage as we cut back to Cracker Cold One going through the chicane, and Orange just behind him, so he's picked up the back of the pack and just managed to get back into the race. He has.
Nate has overtaken.
So there you go, down into the last chicane as we were on board with Debug. Is he going to open that DRS? Probably. No, he hasn't got it open. Interesting.
It's because I believe Garrett overtook Debug. Debug was leading before as well, so we have 2 position changes in the top 4 here.
That is great to see that there is some overtaking here. Some people think it's pretty tricky track, but actually all these hard braking zones and long straights and the DRS really aid. So now the question is, can these guys all stick together? Can Nate and TTAR, can they stick together and run away from these Ferraris? And TTR opens up his wing. They've got an over 1 second gap now. So he has gapped the car behind him just a little bit as he goes a little bit wide, and Bumble goes into the pit lane. And it's going pretty long, 42 seconds.
You can see Shattered there also pressuring Debug as well. He is within half a second, less than half of a second. He is right behind him.
Oh yeah, you can see it right on the exit of the hairpin there as they come out onto the main straight, and they're almost side by side. And this is TTR again. He hasn't got his rear wing open, so he's lost He either has chosen to not open it, or he was out of the detection zone just at the exit of the hairpin. You can see him just gently pressing the throttle as they go through the chicane. And that looks like Shattered Compass has got past Debug there, up into 4th position. So he's been really lucky from that start with all that collision. You got to say, to get back in the race and get back up there, whoa, it could have been a lot worse for Garrett and Shattered Compass there.
Yeah, I mean, just mentally, just trying to, shake off those cobwebs and get back in it is not an easy thing to do, and to reset yourself, it's a real challenge, especially in these cars, because they don't have as much downforce as some of the newer generation Formula One cars. So you have to really be aware of how the car is responding and the feel of it, and you want low downforce for this track, but at the same time, you need to make sure you're planted enough to push. You can see he's already pushing Garrett as well with his DRS open here. It'll be interesting to see if he makes a move on him as Debug goes wide. Yeah,
as Debug goes wide, I was just about to say he just missed his braking marker by just a fraction, and that's all it takes when you're already pushing at the limit of grip. Just an extra meter, just an extra half seconds takes you out from where you should be, and quite a bit of the way out. And there we go, TTR, DRS open. Oh, half throttle down the straight. So he's not trying. He's just staying with Nate Delta right now as Nate gets as aggressive as you can on that curb. I wonder if there was a cut there. But does it open his DRS down this straight? So it's not like there was a problem there. He's just choosing to stay behind Nate for the moment as it counts. As we see in the background, just Shattered Compass still hounding. He's in that Ferrari sandwich, so he's looking forward and he's looking backwards at the same time. That's a really tough position to be.
Yeah, I got a feeling T-Tar is playing some tire management games here. He's not pushing too hard and letting that fuel burn off, as Shattered really applying the pressure here.
He is indeed, and he's almost like pushing Garrett along. I wonder what Garrett's thought process is here. If he's gonna feel phased by Shattered Compass. We know Shattered Compass likes to get his elbows out. This looks like fair racing right now, and no love lost between them, but there is plenty of respect there. But Debug as well is certainly part of this conversation, and just also in Shattered's mirrors as Shattered goes up the inside. Is he going to push? Oh, he almost went to go push Garrett O'Brien wide there and spun himself in the process. Just too much steering, and now the Ferraris have a bit of breathing room.
I think he caught some of that curb and it got him out wide.
It did, as TTR takes the inside and gets past Nate, thinks, thank you very much. I've done enough of that following stuff. But Nate is right behind. This is not over yet. TTR did still get the DRS because he overtook after the detection point. That is great stuff as they go into turn 1. And Nate, now you can see him half throttle, fourth gear, 5th gear, 6th gear, brake. Cut the curb a little bit, cut the curb half throttle through the chicane there to balance the car. Harry flatters, brake. How's it looking? That looks like a great turn, and even in the dirty air, his car is reacting well. So that's going to be a tough act for TTR to break away from.
Oh shit!
Oh, Nate there, absolutely on the limit, and almost wiped out the guy in front of him. TTAR. As he braked, as Debug did just a few laps ago, and that's how easy it is. I wonder if it was a downforce thing for both of those drivers. Just a car in front just lost the front downforce.
Combined with DRS too, you really got to pay attention to that when you're in that DRS zone. It can really catch you off if you're not ready to stop just a little bit earlier than you traditionally are, because you get so much more speed when DRS is enabled.
They are indeed, and both of those Ferrari drivers are now looking at second place, thinking that is where they want to be. And it's Garrett, followed by Debug. That is 3rd and 4th, and Nate just in front of them. They seem to be playing the team game, not harassing each other too much, but staying well within each other's DRS range to help each other along here. Got to wonder if there's some team tactics going on. Let's come round, brake. I think this is called the Lance Stroll section, maybe. I might be mistaken there. Out onto the back, one of the back straights. DRS open for both of those drivers as they come down into the braking zone, which Nate missed just a lap ago. And they all make it round. Yeah, that looks pretty good from Garrett O'Brien there. And Nate just slowly, well, actually quite quickly there. He made up 0.6 of a second there. just through that one corner, even with the DRS from the Ferrari drivers. So Nate got some downforce maybe. Let's see how it looks on the straight.
It was probably, might have been just enough to take outside of the DRS zone. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think Garrett got DRS there, so that's going to keep Nate alive for sure for another lap, and see what happens from that.
Oh, as Nate spins, and that's a rear wing on track, and that car is crabbing. That was not Nate, sorry. Leclerc, I believe. Yeah, yes. Sorry, my mistake there. Leclerc, so that is not good. And Cracker Cold One doing the same thing just earlier on the track as the leaders pass him. So he was almost being lapped there and made the mistake. Stays to the side, nice and sensibly. Wait for his gap to get the car reset and back on track.
And it looks like Garrett's back into the DRS zone, so it's it looks like applying pressure, and it's be interesting to see if can still make something happen here. It's both Ferraris are hot on the tail there. I wonder if Nate's feeling that pressure.
I wonder if he is. And Garrett Bryan, not with his signature style, if you've seen the reigning champion at the moment, not getting the car all sideways. So showing adaptability here and getting that car. Actually, if you're watching his driving, he's taking really early apexes, as that's TTAR, and he's gone sideways and he has to brake. He can't just suddenly block the guys in front of him. He's down, and then he spins again. Oh, the leader.
Wow, big upset here.
Big upset. Suddenly, Nate and Garrett are fighting for first, and Garrett spots the opportunity and takes it both hands, and that is it. He is leading. This is a new race leader on lap 12, entering lap 13. Garrett Bryan has taken the bull by the horns and thrown it back in the cage.
And now Nate's in a Ferrari sandwich, which those aren't the best kind of sandwiches to be in.
No, he should ask Shattered Compass how that went for him. It did not end well. And Nate, now starting to feel the dirty air of the car in front. You could see a tiny bit of understeer there as he's having to get used to how the track now feels with the car in front. And this is something Debug's been doing for lap upon lap already. You've got to think of all the dirty air, and that looked like Nate getting super sideways there and had a wiggle moment, and that Ferrari sandwich is another victim. Brutal.
Yeah, it's these cars are not the easiest to handle, and this track really through those chicanes, it's a real challenge to be able to keep that downforce low while still being planted going through there, and that wall can really eat some people up as well as the Wall of Champions. It's a very difficult track to dial in. You have to eat a lot of curbs, but at the same time have a lot of stability with the high speed. So the setup can really play a big impact on this drive.
It will indeed. And now suddenly you've got a Ferrari 1-2, which is something they will be looking for. And now you've got to wonder if the gloves will come off after the round of pit stops. That will surely be coming up some point. We're on lap 14 now as we start, and Debug just showing his nose just a little bit to his teammate in front of him, saying, yeah, you may be in the lead, but I'm right here beside you. Don't forget about me. We're in this together.
And probably also going, let's speed this up so I don't have Nate getting DRS behind me. So come on, let's move forward here.
And that will definitely be something they'll need to tackle. And it will be dependent on what their strategies are. I think most strategies would have gone out. Oh, as Nate gets it sideways again during that chicane. He's finding that one super tricky. So there's a learning point here for the guys in front and for the people behind, for the drivers behind. That is a Nate weak spot. So yeah, the Ferrari drivers will be thinking, what's their strategy right now? They're going to 1-stop, they're going to 2-stop, they're going to 3-stop. What is it looking like? They're already a third of the distance of the race, and Nate is catching back up. So Nate is pushing. Really, really pushing there. So Nate into the last chicane. Down onto the start-finish straight, and both the drivers have DRS, so they were in second, within 1 second of the driver ahead. Nate dealt it into the braking zone. How's his line looking? It's looking tight. He's getting used to that lack of downforce. That line looks good, but now he has two Ferraris in front of him, and from pole position, this is a disappointing place to be in third. Oh, that is huge.
Oh, no. That's going to set him back quite a lot. That was a big one.
That was an absolutely huge one. He is having to crawl now, and yeah, Shattered Compass up into third, TTR up into fourth, Nate down into fifth, but you're thinking that's going to Oh, that's going to hurt him. The pole sitter there. His day is just getting worse and worse and worse. Survived the carnage in the opening laps, lost the position to TTAR, then lost it to the Ferraris, and then lost it to the wall. As these Ferraris are now starting to have a bit of a stride now, galloping away 4 seconds from Shattered Compass in third place. And there you go, you can see him in the background, as well as TTR, just a little sneaky high in the background of your monitor there. Just going to say, Garrett Bryan almost looking like he's starting to get without of DRS range of his teammate. Only just is Debug in there.
Yeah, they seem to be still working as a team. You know, they're pushing one another while still being respectful and, you know, keeping communication. But one thing I was going to mention before Nate's crash was that I kept noticing Nate catching up on the straights. Obviously, he had DRS, but then going through the chicanes, he was struggling a little bit, and it seemed like perhaps he was, you know, the team had been prioritizing lower downforce over stability and through some of the chicanes, and I wonder if that finally came to bite him.
Yeah, might well have done, as TTR inherits third place there from Shattered Compass, who's pitted. He's the first front runner to really make the move. So probably going into a 2-stop race there is Nate Delta as well. You can see his rear wing, but that is not there. He left that on the track. As you are on board with Crack a Cold One. And yeah, he is getting out the way. That looks like there might be a leader behind him or something. And this is Debug. It's 0.6 of a second. So yeah, the DRS flap opens. He's staying right in the range here. This is great stuff from the two Ferrari drivers. And he's even looking, maybe just getting some fresh air. Oh, and he misses the chicane as his teammate goes in. So yeah, first driver had priority over the pits there. Garrett O'Brien looking to lap Nate Delta pretty much. Disappointing day for Nate, and this is an important stop for Garrett because his teammate is so close. So one small error on your outlap here and he could lose the lead.
Yeah, and we see TTR still pushing through here, so it'll be interesting to see, you know, whether he's a 2-stop or a 1-stop. And at this stage, I don't see how Ferrari is on a 1-stop strategy unless he's going to a hard. We'll see if that's the case, and if you know, Debug and them have a different strategy between one another, if they try to have a different strat between the two to try to teamwork this thing and see how it goes, or not.
I think that would be a smart move. You've got both drivers doing really well. You could see what it's like, and as well, you're doing some good testing here. As we said, this is a 4 times tire wear. So before this season, we decided, the Mutiny decided that there was going to be a gamble on how bad the tires would degrade. Oh, as TTR has to slow right down there to stop a spin. Probably his tires after 16 laps starting to complain a little bit. And so 15 minutes before the race is when the drivers understand what kind of tire wear they're going to be facing. So it really is super challenging for them. As Debug pits and TTR keeps going on that set of medium tires. That is a long call. Debug in. How's his stop going to be? You can see his teammate in the background there as TTR inherits the lead now. And will Garrett Bryan come out in front of him? And Nate Delta way down in 7th, 153 seconds. That is quite a way. 42 seconds to his closest competitor in front of him, who's Leclerc. Ouch, here's a lap down.
One thing that I think that worked out well for a Ferrari strategy is Garrett seemed to have pitted, you know, he's stopped the undercut from Shattered and managed to stay out ahead of him by a few seconds. And I know that their pace, as we saw earlier, is quite similar. So I think that's a really big advantage for Ferrari, that they managed to get in front of Shattered and Team McLaren there.
Absolutely.
Be interesting to see, with the longer TTR stays out here, he may be going for a 1-stop. And if that's the case, Garrett's going to have to really push hard.
Yeah.
You know, if he is on a 2-stop, or if he did go to hards, it seems like the pace that he has is a 2-stop and not. That's probably either medium or soft at this pace, as we see that gap continuing to drop. It's pretty doubtful that he went to hards. But while Debug's his gap is increasing. So if I had to guess, I would say that Garrett's on a 2-stop with either a medium or a soft, and Debug's on a 1-stop with a hard.
I would say that's about right. Just looking at, like you said, the gaps, indeed. Great reading of the race there, and Garrett O'Brien will be thinking to himself, right, it is 9 seconds, just about 10 seconds to TTR up in front. I got Shattered Compass just behind me. Where is my race right now? You're trying to figure out, and it's lap 18, it's lap 19, sorry, so lap 35, so yeah, this is definitely going into one-stop territory for TTR here, and all the people who pit around now. So it's just Orange and TTR that have gone long here into one-stop territory, although realistically, Orange pitted early for damage there. We do have to say as well, if you've noticed on your screen, Bumble is out of the race. He has been disqualified for reckless driving. Keeping his foot flat there, the stewards have decided, yeah, that is not good sportsmanship. And he was trying to make, well, really trying to make good of such an awful situation in front of him. And had he just feathered the throttle and just taken it a little bit easier, he might still be in this race. So the Mutiny, the Brig, the stewards governing body of Mutiny Motorsport, have come down hard on reckless driving through incidents. So that is good to see, and a learning lesson for the junior there. So leader out front, it is gap, remember, is dropped. So remember last lap, it was about 9 to 10 seconds. It is just hovering around 9 seconds now. So it's about a second a lap, lap 20. Those medium tires have gone a long way, and Shattered and Garrett are catching up pretty quickly to the car in front, though Shattered not quite as quickly. Just cruising through that corner, maybe taking it a little bit easy as Orange goes into the pits. Looking, he's going very smoothly, though there was a bit of a wobble on exit there. And that is very slowly for the Hash driver. This could be a great day for him. He's in 8th position. I don't think he's got points in the Mutiny yet. So just keeping it on the track, keeping going. Doesn't matter how many pit stops you do, he could be collecting some good points today for his team and for himself.
That's the whole name of the game is trying to every week get some points, and that adds up over the course of a season. And it might not feel as incredible as getting a podium, but you have down weeks and weeks where you're doing better and worse, and over the accumulation of it all matters.
It does indeed. And talking about points, you have to say the Renault team are not here. If you haven't already noticed, those bright yellow cars, race 2, basically they just got stopped by customs and were about 30 seconds too late to enter the grids for the race. So that is absolutely heartbreaking stuff. They were feeling pretty confident, Borchin said, coming into this race. So that is super disappointing. They will not be collecting points this weekend. And that after well, where was he in the last race? You got to say, I think it was 4th or 3rd place in the ends. After round 1 in Suzuka, he was 3rd. Yeah, 3rd place with 15 points. So not any points today. That is going to be a huge burden for his championship fight.
Yeah, and he had great pace out of there, so it'll be interesting to see how they can come back around and see ahead. There's some rumors of some shakeups happening already in this season, so be curious to see if some teams have some swaps in drivers. Some chatter already happening in the pit lanes about this.
Yeah, there is indeed, as the gap comes down yet again, and TTR goes around for another lap. He's going to start lap 22 on a set of tires that must be feeling pretty second-hand right now, as Garrett O'Brien has got the gap down to 4.3 seconds. That is, both of those drivers have got to notice each other by now. You can see each other in the rearview mirror along the stretch, surely at this point. 4 seconds, maybe just a little shadow that disappears.
Absolutely, and Garrett's going to be aware of TTR hanging out there, and he knows that he's on a one-stop strategy, and that him being Garrett being on a 2-stop, that he's going to have to push every single lap for the remainder of this race.
Yeah.
And if he is on mediums, that for his second stint, that's going to be a very tall mountain to climb.
Yeah.
And be interesting to see once he switches to softs if he can make up some ground there. But yeah, you can hear TTR going out of exits on his corners, how he's just babying the throttle coming out and to manage his tires not to have any big spins, because if he does have a spin, that's going to really be the game over for him, and it's going to be very, very difficult to come out of that.
It will be indeed. It will absolutely be, as it goes down to 3 seconds, so it's multiple seconds a lap here. And will TTR drift into the pit lane here? No, he is going round again. He is taking this as long as he can. But the great thing is both of these drivers know they just need to make one more stop. So this is a race for position, even though they are on such different strategies. They have met now exactly where they should be, and the gap is 3 seconds, 2 seconds now, as Shattered Compass is starting to be dropped here. And it has gone down to 8 seconds from 3 just a few laps ago. So he's got his third position solidified, and Debug is keeping that 22 seconds to the leader. But remember, that's 22 seconds to the leader. And the leader is going slowly, so Debug is suffering right now.
Yeah, those hard tires are punishing. They're really unforgiving, and they make go a farther distance, but you can see the difference between the two drivers here, because Debug and Garrett are very similar pace. And for him to be able to push this much harder than Debug is a sign of the difference of medium tires versus hards. And you got to be wondering what kind of condition TTR's tires are, and they must be absolutely like just shredding to pieces. You know, they're going to be hopefully make it into the pit lane. They're in such bad condition, I would imagine, at this point.
Yeah, and let's see again. It's lap 23. Garrett Bryan is within the second. He might even give him DRS, and TTR does not turn there. He is in. So this is it. This is all battle stations manned and ready for action. Garrett Bryan has to push like hell to get the gap. He's got nice warm tires. They're exactly where they want them to be. What are they, 7 laps old? They're probably great. They're probably feeling like super glue compared to TTR's tires. But TTR is about to come out of the pit lane on, let's see what type of tires he is slamming onto that car. It is 4 times tire wear, so it's either going to be hards or soft. He started on a medium. He might gamble on the softs here, and that's what we're hearing from the pit lane. So he might have to baby those a little bit, but they will be feeling absolutely incredible to what he's just been doing.
Yeah, and a very fast pit stop there at 24 seconds from the time getting in to time getting out. And the other big thing is that he got ahead of Debug on that pit exit. So there can't be, Ferrari won't be able to play any team games trying to, just slow down TTR at all. And so he's going to have sort of free reign to push. You can see Debug there right behind him. And I think that Ferrari was probably hoping that Debug would have been able to help that out a little bit. But those hards, I think that they've slowed him down just a little too much to be able to stop that from happening.
I wonder if Debug is doing the same thing that happened to the Renault crew in the first race in Suzuka, where they went onto hards, realized it wasn't working, and then just stayed on the hards. There was a lesson learned there, and Debug is thinking, no, I can make this work. But you're right. They didn't get to play the team games that Ferrari was so famously known for back in the mid-90s and 2000s with Eddie Irvine and Barrichello and all this stuff, where they used the second driver to back up the competition. That is not happening today unless TTR makes a mistake. But Debug is keeping him honest right now. But those hard tires, I can imagine, are starting to feel not so great compared to the soft tires that are in front. So what is the gap? It is 18 seconds. So that's the gap that Garrett O'Brien has to keep now for the rest of this race until he pits. What did we say TTR's time was?
24 seconds in the pit.
Yeah, that's the gap he really wanted. And his teammate actually right now is looking like he might just be in front of him at the end when Garrett pits. So it's going to be a tough one now. The gap is coming down 17 seconds now. He's got to hustle. He's got to throw everything at this right now. I haven't seen a strategy call like this in the Mutiny that's been so decisive since Peter versus TTAR many moons ago. If you haven't watched those, go back and watch those. Peter often came out on top, as we see Cracker Cold One hit the wall again. Don't retire, collect those points.
Stay in the game.
Going so slowly and definitely crabbing. Yeah, stay in the game, crab your way through back to the pit lane, but that's such a long way. That was up in turn 1. And here we go. TTR starting his first real flying lap, I believe, maybe a second real flying lap, and it's 17 and a half seconds as he crosses the line on lap 26. There's 9 laps remaining, and this is a battle of who has got the pace to the end. TTR is probably trying to judge how much he can push those soft tires without them absolutely burning up, and Garrett O'Brien is thinking, right, I just got to get these because my softs will be so much fresher if he puts them on at the end. Unless Garrett goes to the end, that could also be another thing. He could just think, oh no, he's gone medium to medium, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so and the big question will be is when he will make that stop, right? Because at a certain point, those softs are going to start cutting seconds off of his time. And if he waits too long, it's going to be, the gap will be there, but it's also scary to, to pit and to see that lead go away. So it'll be a balancing act there. I mean, I would think he should be pitting within the next couple of laps, even though the mediums probably still have plenty of tread left on them. You need to get that pace, and the best way to achieve that is through ripping on softs.
Yeah, soft tires still in the Mutiny looking like the powerhouse tire when you can get them in the right spot, in the right window. And here we go, back on board with the original race leader for at least one corner and for a little bit of a couple of laps. Nate Delta there is a lap down or so, and that is really unfortunate. As we go back on board with TTR's teammate, who we haven't seen for most of this race, Orange, did get bumped in the back by Bumblebee. And this is quite a handy 5th place after the catastrophe that was Suzuka. This is looking like a solid points position here for the Sauber team.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. He's having a strong, solid race here.
As Leclerc having to take drastic action to avoid the crabbing and beat up Haas, and almost got taken out there as he was deciding which way to go around. And this is also another good point score from Leclerc, again caught up in the mayhem at the beginning and never really got to recover.
The other big variable here, and I mentioned it early in the beginning of the race, is the 4 times tire wear. And that's an unknown variable here. And so they're all kind of trying these tire strategies out and learning a lot in this race. And whether or not, can softs last 10 laps? Can they last 6 laps? And I think that's the big thing that a lot of these drivers are learning here is, even the hards with this sort of hot temperature, they're really still not gripping up, I think, as probably as much as, like, for example, Debug would have liked.
That is Shattered Compass in the Wall of Champions. He is not a champion. So close to being a champion all the way back in season 3. Race winner, though, and that is the Wall of Race Winners, as he has to take evasive action. And his second place was just, he was being swallowed up by the soft tires of TTAR, let's be honest. The gap now from TTR to Garrett Bryan is 13 seconds, but he also lost out big there to Debug, who's now in a podium contention and looking pretty strong for it. 18 seconds, the gap so he's actually catching on his hard tires to Garrett Bryan in front.
Yeah, that is true. It seems like Garrett's pace is starting to dip, which tells me it should be time for him to pit right about now.
Head down, Garrett, you got this, mate.
And some teammate love coming through there. He has got it. The gap is stabilized back to around 20 seconds, so maybe just a little blip there for Garrett. As we're on board with TTR, 13 seconds, so every lap Garrett stays out, he is losing time here. Remember, it was about, 19 seconds or so when he exited the pits.
It's really tricky. It's a double-edged sword here, because it's great for Debug getting his position up, but as we can see, that time is dropping significantly from TTR, and so Ferrari has got to make the call here for him to pit. Otherwise, you can see TTR fastest lap on the man on the track. So Ferrari has got to pit Garrett now. The longer this happens, the more the issue this is going to be, and it's going to be harder for him to make that time up.
Yeah, I think it will be. Ferrari trying the strategy game. They split the strategies, a 1-stop versus a 2-stop, and it hasn't quite worked out. You got to think, with Shattered Compass coming into pit right now, is it worth Debug throwing on a set of softs as well to the end of the race? Because he might have the gap back to Shattered and Orange, but Shattered Compass will probably throw on a set of softs right now. He's in the pit, 22 seconds, 24 seconds. Yeah, that's looking like a good stop. 25. Oh, it's climbing up a little bit more. He's got some damage, obviously. Yeah, he hit the wall.
Yeah.
About that. So you got to wonder if Ferrari are going to risk it, or whether they're going to say, you know what, no, the tires are working. Let's just get to the end. It's only 6 laps. As the gap comes down again, it is now 11 seconds. This is just like what happened before with TTR on the old mediums and Garrett O'Brien on the new mediums. The gap just disappeared.
Yeah, it's Ferrari is making the wrong call here. It's lap 30 and he is still not pit. And the question will be whether he comes out in front of Debug at this point. Will he be behind his teammate and looking at third position versus fighting for first? And it seems to me like the wrong call is being made.
Yeah, they're too slow on the pit wall here, and they will learn their lesson at the end of this race. because he does have to pit again. He does indeed, but for now, he has been leading for quite some time and is down to 9 seconds, so the time is plummeting. Time is absolutely plummeting, and he's only got 5 laps to make the difference as Nate Delta comes into the pit again. I wonder if he's just going to throw on a set of softs here and just get himself to the end. There's no, you might as well. You might as well. There's no one in front. The Shadow Compass will disappear on his new tires. Garrett Bryan, full speed. And he's going into the pits, so this is it.
Let's see how fast Ferrari can get this pit stop done as we see TTR in the background approaching. So he's definitely going to be overtaking here.
Yeah, through plenty of space against the wall of champions. He saw Shattered Compass make that mistake and given himself plenty of room. A 16.4. Let's remember that lap, see if anyone can beat that as we go through. And TTR is going to lap a Mercedes that is probably Leclerc in front of him. Garrett Bryan 23.1. Yeah, that is a quick stop. That is very quick. That is just the tires. No damage repair needed. And out, and the gap is 8 seconds. Can he hunt him down? He can use all of those tires and more. And already starting to find the limit of the track already, and probably feeling pretty good about these tires.
Yeah, but those 4 laps, that's a lot of time to catch up, and TTR is no slouch. He's going to be fully aware of that pace difference, and the question really ultimately remains is how much tire TTR has. Are his tires going to be completely worn down? Is he fighting to keep his softs alive, or has he been managing them this whole time and is leaving something left in the tank? I mean, we've seen him get fastest lap now 2 of the 3 last laps. Yeah. So how much does he have left there as well is a big question.
That is, his soft tires have done 7 laps. Remember, this is 4 times tire wear. So really, when you think about that, you're like, wow, he's done a ton of laps. He is absolutely crushing it on the laps on those soft tires. If this was the real world, and this really was 4 times the damage on them, but there's only 4 laps left. It is lap 32, lap 33, lap 34, lap 35. And Garrett Bryan has only made a dent of about half a second as he's getting his tires up to scratch. And yeah, just feathering the throttle. And those cars sound great, don't they?
Especially when absolutely. I was about to say the same thing. They sound amazing. They have that little reverb to them. It sounds amazing. And this track is not easy for 4 times tire wear. There's some very big braking zones here, hard braking zones, especially for that hairpin. As Shattered gets the fastest lap here at 1:16.1, which is really fast. Looks like Garrett's got a little DRS here from Leclerc, which certainly doesn't hurt his lap time as well, getting a little free DRS. But it's a very difficult thing to manage that, and you get one small mistake with those softs, 4 times tire wear, and you get a lockup, and your time's going to drop significantly because you're not going to be able to trust those tires again.
Yeah, and this is the great thing about AMS2. The lockups count, and they hurt. They hurt so bad. They will shake your room apart. If you've got a strong enough rig, you'll feel it 1,000 times a second as the wheels rotate. And TTR comes across the line. The gap is down just under 7 seconds. So I don't think Garrett is quite making the inroads he is hoping to, as it is just under 7 seconds. So it's probably about half a second a lap, I would say, which is significant, but maybe not the gaps that he was looking for. I was going to say, the one thing this track, you're right, the heavy braking and the harsh acceleration will probably be the test for these tires. Not the lateral load, but the fore aft load of this car. Is if you brake, and 15.7 for Shattered, that's what Garrett Bryan needs to be doing. Shattered comes orange up into 4th position right there from Shattered's pit stop. I just noticed that one. So yeah, the fore aft load will be huge on these. So the drivers will be getting some really good knowledge for the future if 4 or 3 times tire wear comes back into play. But they're not sustaining any lateral load. The long corners here are not very long. And it's a chicane, so it's like half a second on one, half a second on the other. So they're learning about the fore aft and they're not learning about the lateral. So that will be another challenge for the next races that use this type of tire wear.
Yeah, and it looks like there'll be a little bit of discrepancy here between the lower times and the leaderboard times, but yeah, it's only down another maybe half a second from the previous lap, and there's it is not looking good for Garrett to come back and really even push TTR at this point. And God, it makes you wonder if they had made that call a little bit sooner for those softs, or to go medium, soft. What kind of a different, I think we might have a little interesting battle on our hands, or if the safety car never happened, what that would have looked like as well, as Shattered is tearing it up with a 15.2 here. He's pushing hard.
He's been showing us speed. Yeah, he's been showing speed all season. And I think the great thing that we're talking about right now is Garrett, the reigning champion, being disappointed he's not winning this race, but he's coming second. Like, that's what we're talking about right now. And that's the mentality of a champion, is saying, yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm not, maybe I'm not getting first today, and that's where I really wanted to be. But we're talking about two champions here duking it out at the front. And there could have been a third champion, and Broadchen just didn't make the race. And there's a potential champion in Nate Delta as well, and Debug, all sat there, and Shattered Compass and Orange, who surprisingly, after something like, got to be like 60-something races, still not got a victory inside there. This is a tough, fierce field. And so to be saying for all the drivers to be like going like this is incredible to watch. It's incredible to watch.
There's a lot to be learned too. Like, even if he might not be, Garrett, for example, is going to win this race, he's still pushing.
Absolutely.
You can see that from the time dropping here, and it's like learning these cars and progressing over the course of his season. As he locks up there, he's clearly still pushing, and having the confidence to push, and to see how these softs handle 4 times tire wear and pushing through these corners. There's a lot to keep learning throughout this race, and that's what, yes, getting points is important, but also your own individual progression with these cars really adds up over the course of a season. And how someone progresses, like TTR is someone who's always done great out of the gate. Garrett, for example, is someone who slowly gets better over the course of a season and learns about that car. And so I think those are all different takeaways you can have. I mean, you can see the difference between the gap between Garrett and Deepbot. Oh, sorry, I think he's had an issue here with his pits, but the difference of the softs versus the hards at the end of the race, it's pretty significant.
It is as TTR wiggles the car side to side. First victory of the season. Garrett, this is a great recovery from Suzuka, where the position wasn't where he wanted to be in Suzuka, and pulls off to the sides. And who is going to take that podium position? It looks like Debug has had the same disqualification from the game yet again. So will the stewards overrule that and reinstate his position at the end of the race? We will have to wait. But right now, it's still Shattered Compass absolutely flying, even on the last lap. And there's no one around him. He just wants that fastest lap point. And that is quite valuable if you're not going to finish in the top. If you're not going to finish in the top, you might as well get the extra point, right?
And let's also have a moment here to talk about how strong of a race Orange had. He had that big crash up at the beginning, but to come back around and to have such a strong finish and a strong showing, it's really great for their team to be getting such great points here.
TTR comes across. This has been his wind down lap, his cool down lap. Still giving it the beans.
No, that's Orange. That's Orange getting his
that's
his
Orange.
finish there.
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even tell these skins apart, how good they are. They're so great. And there you go. Shattered Compass cruising along. Got the fastest lap for the race. That looks like he was on fire at the end. And what could have happened had his race been different? Is TTR doing donuts down at the hairpin to celebrate the victory here? What a good start to the season. That's a second position in Suzuka, and then a first position here. Just beating out, you were saying how he strung out the gate, just beating out his second best, his best start to the season, which was 2 second places in a row. So there you go. Confirmation of race results. TTR, 25 points. Garrett Bryant, 18 great points to bring to Ferrari alongside Debug in third position. He was reinstated after that accidental DQ by the game. Orange up in fourth. Shattered Compass a lap down. Gets some penalties yet, but gets fastest lap. Nate Delta down in sixth. What a disappointment. Leclerc, and a celebration for Cracker Cold One. He stuck with it. 9 laps down. It does not matter, but check those out for first points in the Mutiny. 4 whole points.
Yeah, and we got TTR taking the number 1 spot while Nate drops down to second. And then we've got the Ferrari here at Debug at third and Garrett at fourth, right on their heels. And then we have Shattered at fifth. And with Broadchen at 6 dropping quite a lot from Renault not showing up today. Followed by Orange, NDF, Leclerc, Cracker Cold One, Old Boy, and Artie. Cloning comes some. Ricardro, Enigma, Bumble, and Maxi.
And Sauber with that strong finish, just pipping Ferrari. They're up 2 places. That weekend really helped them. Can they sustain this, or is Ferrari going to fight back? You got to think Ferrari's on form right now. Red Bull in 3rd position. They seem a little bit distant. Come some, didn't make any of these races so far, so they're just hurting them. Mercedes in 4th. Great showing from the AVM guys. McLaren in 5th. Renault in 6th. That hurt them. Rumours, Renault are getting a new teammate, a new signing, interchanging. And we cannot wait to have you along for our next race of the season. Oh, we are off to Austria for the next race, so please do tune in. That is going to be a hell of a race.
Step away, T-Star.
Congratulations. Oh, Brian, you were pushing really nice.
I had the same thing happen to me that NDS had, where it reset the setup and had me dragging along the track.
Congrats for your first win, score that goal.
Nice race, Garrett. Well done, man.
Thank you very much, guys.